guys, welcome back. It's Monday and that means another top 10 countdown. Today I'm talking about the top 10 coolest things about the Clone Wars CG animated series. Starting off at number 10 is meeting new characters. One thing Clone Wars did was introduce new characters that, as the seasons went on, we became very attached to as fans. Among them are fan favorites Ahsoka Tano, Hondo Ohnaka, Rex, and Fives the clones. Number 9 is, in the Clone Wars, at least for the first few seasons, Anakin is actually likable. In the prequels, he was a cute little boy in Episode 1. Episode 2, he was an emo teenager. Episode 3, he danced the line between emo and... we kind of wondered what the heck he was thinking. But in the Clone Wars, we can sort of sympathize with him and actually see where he's coming from now. It was the Clone Wars that convinced me that it wasn't only Palpatine's influence that helped turn Anakin to the dark side, but it was also the ignorance and immobility of the Jedi Council. And of course, Anakin's bad choices, which get more and more serious as the seasons go on. But for the most part, Anakin's much more likable in the Clone Wars than he was in Episodes 2 and 3. Number 8, there are plenty of callbacks to the original trilogy. Not only do the Y-Wings pop up, but several famous lines and different characters that we've seen in the original trilogy. Of course, 3PO and R2 are there, and that also helps. In my opinion, the callbacks to the original trilogy are what help Clone Wars feel like Star Wars. Number 7 on the list is the Clone Wars has got some pretty nice space battles. The first season pretty much set the standard with all those different space battles in orbit over Ryloth, and then of course the destruction of the Malevolence, General Grievous's flagship, and it just kept going on, and the space battles kept improving with the seasons, and it really set the stage for Rebels later on. And of course, space battles are pretty much the bread and butter of Star Wars. I mean, it's a war in the stars. I'm sorry I'm not very articulate today. My mind is kind of... I'm a little distracted. Number 6 on the list is, of course, another staple of Star Wars, lightsaber fights. The Clone Wars has some really good ones. One of my favorites, of course, is when Ahsoka goes dark in the Mortis arc and goes up against her own master. That one is both heartbreaking and amazing to watch. Another really good one is when Palpatine fights with Darth Maul. Number 5 on the list is humanizing the clones by giving them personalities. In Episodes 2 and 3, we didn't really get to know any of the clones, and therefore, for the most part, didn't really feel anything as clones got hit and then died or turned against the Jedi. But thanks to the Clone Wars, we got to know several clones very well, including Rex and Cody, and my personal favorite, Fives. Clone Wars helped make the clones into more than just another face in the crowd. They actually helped us sympathize with them, and it made the betrayal during Order 66 all the more heartbreaking. Number 4 on the list was learning how flawed the Jedi Order really was. Now, the Jedi as a whole were definitely the good guys. Their original goal was to be peacekeepers of the galaxy, but their main mistakes were made in serving the political side of it and not just the people, like serving the Senate instead of serving the residents of the galaxy as a whole. And they also seemed to forget their role as peacekeepers and became embroiled in war, became generals, and we're talking about tactics and everything. They were moving away from their roots and also holding, I guess, a little bit too tightly to certain rules. And it's, thanks to the Clone Wars, now it's easy to see how Anakin could distrust them and even turn against them later. Along those lines is number 3, we learn that Yoda is not perfect. That's right, folks. Yoda, the Grand Master who's almost 900 years old, he makes mistakes. And we also see that he has a dark side to him in the episodes of, Voices and Visions during the Lost Missions. We get to see that Yoda's dark side has not gone away. He has just denied that it's existed, and he actually gets to fight it as an entity. And that's kind of creepy to see, but very, very thought-provoking. I think it humbles Yoda and helps him to be a better Jedi Master. Number 2 is seeing a lot of character development for Obi-Wan. Now, in the prequels, 1, 2, and 3, Obi-Wan seems like a very straight-laced, by-the-book, 100%, no deviations Jedi. In Clone Wars, we get to see he has not always followed the Jedi Code to the letter, and he likes to bend the rules a little bit himself. And he also has very human flaws, including getting very, very attached to someone, but in the end, he had to make a choice between Satine and the Jedi, and he ended up choosing the Jedi and sticking to that path. Despite this, he still had very strong feelings for Satine, and we all know where she ended up. Now, Obi-Wan's character development sets up perfectly what I think is one of his greatest moments in Star Wars Rebels, which I already mentioned in one of my Rebels countdowns. And finally, the number 1 coolest thing about the Clone Wars CGI animated series, in my humble opinion, is the fact that we gain a deeper understanding of the mythology of the Force. The Force, of course, is the backbone of Star Wars. Without the Force, Star Wars would be just another science fiction series. But since it has the Force and those fantastical elements, it becomes a space fantasy. Certain episodes of the Clone Wars deepen our understanding of this mythological energy field and how it affects our characters. Learning about the Force, we gain a deeper understanding of the mythology of Star Wars and how the story works together as a whole, not just for the characters that we know and love, but for the entire galaxy. So there you go, guys. Those are the Clumsy Jedi's top 10 things that make the Clone Wars awesome. If you like this video and you want to see more G-rated Star Wars content, go ahead and click that little subscription button down below. More on that in a couple of minutes. First, question of the day. What is your absolute favorite thing about Clone Wars? Go ahead and post a comment below. Now, getting back to that subscriber count. You may or may not know that shortly after hitting 1,500 subscribers back in June, I set a challenge for myself to reach 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Now, it's only November 5th. We've still got almost 2 whole months left in the year. But that being said, I've already hit 1,998 subscribers. I reached that number this morning at about 6 a.m. Since then, I've been watching my subscriber count like a hawk so I could bring you the exact moment that it hits 2,000. It's about 1:30 in the afternoon and it hasn't quite hit that number yet. Now, while I can be as patient as the next person, I have to admit, the tension is killing me. So, I'm going to make the plea. If you guys know anybody that absolutely loves Star Wars, or even just a casual fan who wants a break from all the negative things surrounding Star Wars, please tell them about this channel. My content is 100% G-rated, it's family-friendly, and I do my utmost best to keep it positive, which is what I think Star Wars needs right now. There's way too many negative Nancys and Normans out there. So, that being said, thank you in advance for your help, thank you for watching, and until next time, this is the Clumsy Jedi signing off. Bye, guys.
And besides, nobody likes a clumsy Jedi.
Clumsy?